Have you ever felt the ground beneath you simply vanish? One moment, you're standing firm, navigating the familiar currents of life. And the next, you're plummeting into an abyss you never saw coming. Have you ever faced news so shattering, so utterly disorienting, that the person you thought you were, the life you meticulously built, feels like a distant memory? What happens when the anchors of your world, routine, certainty, even your own resilience, are ripped away, leaving you adrift in a terrifying, unknown sea? For Arthur, a man who had always found solace in the predictable rhythm of his days, that moment arrived with a quiet, devastating force. At 62, Arthur was a retired carpenter, his hands still calloused from decades of shaping wood, his mind sharp, filled with the practical wisdom of a life well lived. He lived in a small coastal town, a place where the ocean's ebb and flow mirrored the gentle pace of his existence. His days were a comforting tapestry, morning walks along the beach, the scent of salt and pine filling his lungs, tinkering in his backyard workshop, crafting intricate birdhouses for his neighbors, evenings spent on his porch, watching the sunset paint the sky, often with a cup of herbal tea and a well-worn book. He was a quiet man, respected in his community, known for his steady hands and his even temperament. He had no immediate family nearby, but found a deep sense of belonging in the familiar faces at the local diner, the weekly chess club at the community center, and the easy camaraderie with his fellow retirees. Life wasn't without its small challenges. The occasional leaky roof, a stubborn knot in a piece of timber, the quiet ache in his knees after a long day. But these were minor ripples in an otherwise calm sea. Then came the persistent cough, a dry, hacking cough that clung to him like the damp coastal fog. He dismissed it as a lingering cold, a touch of seasonal allergies. He tried home remedies, drank more hot tea, even bought an air purifier for his small cottage. When the cough deepened and a subtle, persistent tightness began to settle in his chest, his friend, Margaret, from the chess club, finally insisted he see Dr. Evans. Arthur went reluctantly, convinced it was just a minor bronchial irritation, perhaps a touch of pneumonia that a quick course of antibiotics would clear right up. He even joked with Margaret, "Don't worry, it's probably just my lungs protesting against another year of my terrible chess moves." The initial tests were inconclusive, leading to more tests, then specialists, then scans. Each appointment felt like an intrusion, a disruption to the peaceful solitude he cherished. He maintained his calm demeanor, even as a quiet, insistent unease began to settle in his chest, mirroring the physical tightness. He continued his walks, crafted his birdhouses, played his chess games, all while a small, persistent voice in the back of his mind whispered, "Something isn't right." He pushed it down, focusing on the immediate, the tangible. The rhythmic crash of waves against the shore, the intricate patterns of sawdust on his workshop floor, the comforting weight of a freshly carved piece of wood in his hands. Then came the day of the biopsy results. It was a Tuesday afternoon, the last rays of sun glinting off the ocean, casting long shadows across his workshop. Arthur was sanding a delicate piece of oak, lost in the meditative rhythm of the work, a faint smile on his face as he imagined the joy it would bring to its new owner. His phone rang. It was Dr. Evans. Arthur answered, his voice steady. "Hello, doctor. Good news, I hope." The doctor's voice was gentle, almost too gentle. "Arthur, I have the results from the biopsy. Can you sit down?" The words hung in the air, heavy and still. Arthur felt the blood drain from his face. He sank onto his workbench stool, the rough wood cool against his skin. The rhythmic crash of the waves outside faded into a distant hum. It's aggressive lung cancer, Arthur. Stage 4. The world tilted. The intricate patterns of sawdust on the floor seemed to mock him with their order. The familiar scent of wood shavings suddenly felt suffocating. Lung cancer. Stage 4. The words echoed in his mind, each one a hammer blow. He heard Dr. Evans talking about next steps, about oncologists, about treatment plans. But the words were just noise, a jumble of sounds that made no sense. All he could focus on was the image of his favorite birdhouse, half finished on his bench, waiting for its final touches. Would there be many more birdhouses? Would he ever again feel the quiet satisfaction of a life that was, if not perfect, at least manageable? He remembered staring at the rough grain of the oak, the wood that had always felt so solid and dependable. It seemed to blur in the fading light, a hazy, uncertain cloud. He couldn't find the energy to pick up his tools, to continue his work. His perfectly ordered world, the one he'd carefully constructed with its routines and future plans, had just shattered into a million pieces. It wasn't just a persistent cough anymore. It was a diagnosis. It was a word that carried a weight he hadn't known existed, a word that felt like a death sentence. The future, which had always been a clear path stretching ahead, was now a dense, terrifying fog, filled with shadows and unimaginable pain. He felt a profound, bone-deep terror, a sense of being utterly blindsided and alone, even with Dr. Evans' gentle, compassionate voice on the other end of the line. The very air in the workshop felt heavy, pressing down on him. Perhaps that's not exactly your story. Maybe it's not a diagnosis, but a different kind of news that brought your world to a halt. A sudden loss, a betrayal, a financial collapse, a relationship ending. But maybe the feeling is familiar. That sudden, gut-wrenching realization that everything you thought was stable has shifted, and you're left standing on shaky ground, wondering how to take the next breath. That feeling of being caught in a current, pulled under by something you can't fight, something that threatens to drown you. The sense that the life you knew, the person you were, is suddenly gone, replaced by a terrifying stranger. In this time together, we're going to walk through a story, a song, a reflection, and a prayer. And as we do, you'll see this candle here. It's not just a prop, not just a decorative element. It's a quiet reminder that even when everything feels dark, when the news is overwhelming and the future is uncertain, there is a light. Not a light that magically makes the darkness disappear. Not a light that offers easy answers or quick fixes, but a light that arrives right in the middle of it, a steady, quiet presence. It's a symbol of God's presence, not at the end of the tunnel, but right here, right now, in the deepest part of the darkness. Arthur sat in his workshop long after Dr. Evans' call ended, the phone still clutched in his hand. The last rays of the setting sun cast long shadows across the empty benches, making the room feel vast and cold. The half-finished birdhouse, with its delicate, unpainted details, seemed to mirror the chaos in his mind. He didn't know what to do next, or how to tell Margaret, or how to look at the familiar faces in the diner, without them seeing the terror that had just taken root inside him. The path ahead was gone, replaced by a vast, terrifying unknown. The steady hands he had always relied on felt like fragile, broken things. He was utterly, completely lost. We left Arthur in his workshop, the last rays of sun fading, the weight of his diagnosis pressing down on him, leaving him utterly lost and alone in the quiet aftermath. That initial shock, that moment when the world tilts on its axis, is a place many of us have found ourselves, or fear finding ourselves. It's the feeling of being stripped bare, of having the familiar landscape of your life suddenly vanish, replaced by a terrifying unknown terrain. Perhaps you're in a place like that right now. Maybe you've just received news that has shaken your world to its core. Or perhaps you're living with the ongoing reality of such news. That cold knot in your stomach, the way your breath catches in your throat, the constant hum of anxiety just beneath the surface of every thought. It's the specific texture of this kind of pain, the way it steals your sleep, making the nights long and filled with dread, the way it casts a shadow over every conversation, every moment of joy, making you feel disconnected from the very people you love. It's what it does to your sense of the future, turning dreams into question marks, plans into impossibilities. It's the fear you're afraid to say out loud, the fear of pain, of dependence, of leaving loved ones behind, of what it means to truly face your own mortality. It's the profound sense of unfairness, the question of, why me, that echoes in the quiet moments. And perhaps, in the deepest parts of your heart, you wonder if anyone, even God, truly understands the depth of this sudden, crushing weight, this feeling of being utterly caught and helpless. 3,000 years ago, someone felt exactly this. They knew what it was like to be caught in the grip of overwhelming fear, to feel as though life itself was slipping away, to be surrounded by the very bonds of death. And they wrote it down, their words, preserved in what we now call Psalm 31, speak to that raw, immediate terror, that sense of being in distress, with a precision that still cuts through the centuries. This psalm enters not as a religious text to be studied from a distance, but as a voice that already knows what you are feeling, a companion in the dark. Let's listen to a few fragments from this ancient voice, and let each fragment breathe, allowing its truth to settle in the quiet spaces of your own experience. Be merciful to me, Lord, for I am in distress. My eyes grow weak with sorrow, my soul and body with grief. Just that first part. Be merciful to me, Lord, for I am in distress. It's a visceral plea, isn't it? Not just a feeling of being unwell or facing a challenge, but of being utterly overwhelmed, caught in a profound struggle. It speaks to that suffocating sensation when a serious diagnosis hits. The feeling that your life is no longer entirely your own, that you're ensnared by forces beyond your control. It's the terror of losing agency, of being pulled into a current you can't fight, a current that seems to be dragging you further and further from the shore of your familiar life. It's the feeling of being trapped, of struggling against something invisible but incredibly strong, something that seems to tighten its grip with every passing day. My life is consumed by anguish, and my years by groaning. My strength fails because of my affliction, and my bones waste away. This isn't just about physical death, not yet. It's about the shadow of it, the cold breath of it on your neck, the way it infiltrates every thought. It's the immediate grief for the life you thought you had, for the future you'd planned, for the sense of security that has just been ripped away. It's the pre-grief, the mourning for what might be lost, even before it is. That heavy, sinking feeling that can make it hard to breathe, hard to move, hard to find any joy. It's the way the world can suddenly seem muted, colors less vibrant, sounds less clear, as if a veil has been drawn over everything you once cherished. This anguish can feel like a physical weight, pressing down on your chest, making every breath an effort. I am forgotten as a dead man out of mind. I am like a broken vessel. This isn't a gentle sadness. It's a complete engulfment. It's the feeling that the sheer volume of pain and uncertainty is too much to bear, that it has washed over you, leaving you breathless and disoriented. It's the moments when the tears come unbidden, hot and fast, or when they don't come at all, replaced by a hollow ache that feels even more profound. It's the mental fog, the inability to concentrate, the way simple tasks suddenly feel monumental. This trouble and sorrow isn't just an emotion. It's a state of being, a heavy cloak that wraps around you, making it difficult to see a way forward, difficult to imagine a time when this weight might lift. This psalm doesn't shy away from the terror. It names it unflinchingly. It gives voice to the raw, unedited fear that can consume you in the face of a life-altering diagnosis. It doesn't offer platitudes or quick fixes. It simply says, I know this feeling. It's a presence, not an argument. It sits with you in the dark, acknowledging the reality of your pain without trying to explain it away or rush you through it. And in this space, as we sit with these ancient words, remember the candle. It's still here, its flame steady, a small point of light in the quiet. It's a reminder that even when the cords of death feel like they're tightening, even when anguish threatens to overcome, there is a presence, a quiet, unwavering light that doesn't demand you feel better, but simply is. It's a symbol of God's presence, not as a distant rescuer, but as a companion walking with you through the valley, even when nothing is felt, even when everything feels lost. This psalm, this ancient voice, doesn't leave us in the depths of despair. It begins there, yes, but it also points to something else, a turning point that emerges from the very heart of that darkness. We've allowed ourselves to sink into the raw, honest cry of the psalmist, recognizing the profound resonance of being in distress, consumed by anguish, and feeling like a broken vessel. It's a feeling that hits with brutal force when life takes an unexpected, terrifying turn, like receiving a serious diagnosis. It's crucial to let that feeling simply be, to acknowledge the sheer crushing weight of it, because sometimes the most spiritual and honest thing we can do is to simply articulate our pain without trying to fix it or explain it away. Now, let's lean a little closer into some of the powerful images this psalm offers, not as abstract theological concepts, but as deeply personal ways of understanding what it means to navigate this kind of terror. These aren't just poetic phrases. They are windows into the human experience of profound suffering. The psalmist speaks of being in distress. When you hear that, does it resonate with the feeling of being trapped, of having your options suddenly shrink, of feeling like your body or your future is no longer entirely your own? It's a profound sense of helplessness, isn't it? Like being caught in a net, struggling against something invisible but incredibly strong, something that seems to tighten its grip with every passing day. This distress isn't just about physical danger. It's about the psychological and spiritual constriction that comes with such news. It's the feeling that the very air you breathe is heavy with dread, that every choice is now filtered through the lens of this new, terrifying reality. It's the loss of freedom, the sudden awareness of limitations that were unimaginable just yesterday. And in those moments, when you feel that distress tightening, when the diagnosis feels like a sentence, where do you even begin to look for a way out? What if, even in that entanglement, there's a hand reaching in, not to magically untangle you immediately, but to simply hold yours, to offer a steady grip amidst the struggle? What if the presence of God isn't about immediate rescue from the cords, but about being with you inside the entanglement, sharing the burden of the struggle? It's a radical thought that God doesn't always remove the pain, but enters into it with us. Then there's the phrase, "My life is consumed by anguish, and my years by groaning." This isn't just about the fear of physical death. It's about the shadow of it, the cold breath of it on your neck, the way it infiltrates and changes everything. Does it feel like a heavy, suffocating blanket has been thrown over your life, muffling joy, dimming hope, making every moment feel precarious and fragile? It's a unique kind of sorrow, isn't it? To grieve a future that hasn't even been lost yet, but feels profoundly threatened. To look at your loved ones, your friends, your community, and feel a pang of fear for what might be, rather than simply enjoying their presence in the moment. This anguish can feel like a physical weight, pressing down on your chest, making every breath an effort, every smile a struggle. It can make you feel utterly alone, even when people are trying their best to help, because it's a grief that no one else can fully carry for you. But what if this anguish is also a sacred space, a crucible where something profoundly real can happen? What if, in the face of such stark reality, the superficial falls away, and you're left with what truly matters, with the raw, essential core of your being? And what if God meets you, not just in your comfort, but in your deepest anguish, sitting with you in that heavy, suffocating feeling, not offering platitudes, but simply being? The psalm also says, "I am like a broken vessel." This isn't just a bad day or a fleeting moment of sadness. It's a complete and utter submersion. Have you felt that sense of being completely underwater, unable to surface, unable to catch your breath? The sheer volume of pain and uncertainty too much to bear. It's the exhaustion that comes from fighting a battle you didn't ask for. The mental fatigue of constantly processing fear and uncertainty. The emotional drain of trying to maintain a semblance of normalcy. It's the feeling that your capacity for resilience has been stretched to its absolute limit, and you have nothing left to give. Every simple task feels monumental, every decision paralyzing. And in that state of being utterly overcome, when every fiber of your being just wants to give up, what does it mean to hear that voice, ancient and true, saying, "I know this feeling"? It's not an instruction to pull yourself together or to be strong. It's a profound act of solidarity, a recognition that your experience is not unique, that others have walked this path before. What if being broken isn't a sign of weakness, but simply the honest truth of the human experience in the face of overwhelming pain? And what if God's presence isn't about making the trouble disappear, but about being a quiet anchor in the midst of the storm, allowing you to be overcome without being completely lost, holding you even as you feel yourself dissolving. This psalm, in its raw honesty, gives us profound permission to cry out, to acknowledge the terror, to feel the anguish without shame or judgment. It doesn't rush to offer comfort, because sometimes comfort is the last thing we need when we're still trying to name the depth and breadth of our pain. It simply holds space for the reality of what it means to be human in the face of overwhelming news, validating the experience rather than trying to diminish it. It's a sacred invitation to bring your whole, broken self without reservation. And the candle, still burning quietly, steadily, reminds us that even in the deepest distress, the heaviest anguish, the most overwhelming sorrow, there is a persistent, gentle light. It doesn't shout for attention. It doesn't demand that the darkness flee. It just is. It's a symbol of hope, not as a naive optimism, but as a quiet, stubborn refusal to let the darkness have the final word. It's a reminder that even when you can't see the path, the light is still present, illuminating just enough for the next step. We've allowed ourselves to fully inhabit the raw, visceral images of distress, anguish, and being like a broken vessel, recognizing them as honest expressions of what it feels like to receive a life-altering diagnosis. The psalm, however, doesn't just name the darkness. It also begins to whisper about a way through it, or perhaps a way of being in it, a subtle shift that changes everything. Let's continue to unpack the psalm, moving now towards the quiet strength and presence it offers. The psalmist, after describing the depths of their despair, then declares, "But I trust in you, Lord. I say, you are my God." This is a turning point, not because the circumstances have magically changed, or because the pain has suddenly vanished, but because the direction of their gaze has shifted. When you are caught in distress, when anguish consumes your life, when you feel like a broken vessel, does it feel like the only thing left to do is cry out? It's not a sophisticated prayer, is it? It's not filled with theological jargon or eloquent phrases. It's a raw, desperate, almost primal plea. It's the sound of a soul at its absolute limit, reaching out for anything, for anyone. And in those moments, when you feel like you have nothing left, when your own strength has completely failed, is there a quiet, almost instinctual urge to simply call out for help, even if you don't know who you're calling to, or if anyone is truly listening? What if that simple, unadorned cry, that desperate, "You are my God," is the most profound act of faith you can offer? It's not about having all the answers, or even believing with certainty. It's about acknowledging your utter dependence, your complete vulnerability. It's about letting go of the illusion of control and simply reaching out. The psalm continues, offering a profound declaration about the character of God. "My times are in your hands. Deliver me from the hands of my enemies, from those who pursue me." This isn't a promise that the diagnosis will disappear, or that the path ahead will suddenly become easy and pain-free. That would be a false comfort, but it is a declaration about the unchanging nature of God, a truth that stands firm even when your world is crumbling. When you feel utterly vulnerable, caught off guard by life's cruelest blows, does it feel impossible to believe in a God who holds your times in His hands? When your world has been turned upside down and you feel brought low, stripped of your strength and hope, does the idea of being delivered feel too grand, too distant, too much like a miracle you can't quite believe in? What if delivery in this context isn't about a miraculous cure, but about being held, sustained, and accompanied through the very valley you're walking? It's about the quiet assurance that you are not alone, even when you feel most alone. It's about the compassion that doesn't remove the pain, but sits with you in it, offering a steadying hand, a comforting presence, a deep, abiding love that transcends circumstance. It's about being preserved through the trial, not necessarily from it. This psalm can become a living companion in your daily life, a lifeline you can grasp when the waves threaten to pull you under, when the anxiety spikes, when the fear of the unknown becomes overwhelming. Try returning to a specific verse. Perhaps it's, "Be merciful to me, Lord, for I am in distress." Say it out loud. Acknowledge the feeling. Give it voice. And then follow it with, "But I trust in you, Lord. I say, you are my God." It's not about denying the reality of your situation, but about giving voice to both the pain and the desperate, honest plea for presence. Before sleep, when the quiet can amplify every fear, when the mind races with worries about tomorrow, sit with a line like, "My times are in your hands." Let those words be a quiet anchor, not a demand for a particular feeling, but a gentle reminder of a truth that exists beyond your current experience. A truth that holds even when you feel like you're losing your grip. When the weight becomes too much and you feel like you can't take another step, say a phrase from the psalm out loud, even if it's just a whisper. Let the ancient words carry some of the burden, giving form to your unspoken prayers. Think of Arthur, sitting in his workshop, the silence amplifying his terror. In that moment, the idea of trusting in the Lord might have felt impossible or even absurd. But what if, in the days and weeks that followed, as he navigated appointments and difficult conversations, a small, desperate cry escaped his lips? "You are my God." Not a demand for a miracle, but a plea for strength, for endurance, for presence. And what if, in the quiet moments, he began to remember the words he'd heard in church, words about a God who holds his times in his hands, a God who delivers him not always from the trial, but through it. It wouldn't erase the cancer, but it might offer a tiny crack in the wall of despair, a sliver of light in the overwhelming darkness. It's not about feeling better instantly, but about finding a way to be in the midst of the storm, knowing you are not utterly abandoned. Look again at the candle in the video. It's a visual anchor, a small, steady flame. It's a reminder that light is present even when everything else feels dark. It's not a beacon at the end of a long tunnel, promising an escape from the darkness, but a quiet glow right here, right now, in the midst of the uncertainty. It's a symbol of a God who enters into our suffering, who doesn't shy away from our pain, but sits with us in the messiness, in the fear, in the uncertainty. Sometimes, in the midst of overwhelming pain and fear, words lose their power. They can feel inadequate, hollow, or even intrusive. In these moments, what is truly needed is not more explanation, not more analysis, but simply a space for quiet, a space for being, a space for presence. So, for a moment, let us pause. Look at the candle. See the flame, how it dances just a little, a tiny flicker, yet it holds its shape with an unwavering resolve. Notice the way the light pushes back against the shadows around it, not erasing them entirely, not making them disappear, but making them less absolute, less consuming. It's a quiet steadiness, isn't it? a small, persistent warmth that doesn't demand attention, but simply is. It doesn't promise to banish the darkness, but it refuses to be extinguished by it. Take a breath, a slow, deep breath. Feel the air fill your lungs, and then let it out slowly, gently, as if releasing a small burden. Don't try to figure anything out for a moment. Don't try to feel anything specific. No need to force peace or hope or even understanding. Just be present. Let your gaze rest on that flame. Allow your mind to quiet, even if just for a few seconds. It's just a candle, yes. But it's also a gentle, tangible suggestion of God's quiet presence. Not an explanation for your pain, not a grand, miraculous intervention, but a simple, unwavering light. Right here, right now, in the midst of your reality. It's a reminder that even when everything feels chaotic and uncertain, there is a core of stillness, a source of gentle illumination that persists. It's a moment to simply be, to rest in the quiet assurance that you are seen, you are held, and you are not alone, even in the deepest silence. Just be. We've taken a moment to breathe, to simply be present with the quiet, unwavering light of the candle. That stillness, that pause, is often where the deepest truths begin to surface. Now, let's return to the heart of what it means to walk through this kind of valley, the kind that opens up after a serious diagnosis, but with a deeper understanding of the complexities involved. I don't know if this will make sense, but there's something I keep coming back to when I think about these moments. It's the descent. The way a diagnosis can feel like you're being pulled down, not just into a deep, dark place, but into a reality that strips away all pretense. And in that place, things get said or thought that we rarely voice in polite company, let alone in church. Like, sometimes, prayer feels like talking to the ceiling. You try to reach out. You try to find the words. You try to connect, but it's just silence. Or worse, it feels like your words are bouncing back at you, unheard, unheeded, echoing in an empty void. And believing in God, truly believing with all your heart, doesn't magically make the fear go away. The fear is still there, sharp and real, a constant, unwelcome companion, a low hum beneath every thought, every action. And God can seem absent for so long, so utterly quiet, so profoundly distant, that you begin to wonder if He was ever really there at all, if He cared, if He knew the depth of your suffering, if He was truly good. These are the honest, raw, often terrifying thoughts that surface when you're in the depths of it. When distress feels tight around you, when anguish presses in, it's okay to feel that. It's okay to name that. It's okay to voice the doubt, the anger, the profound sense of abandonment. These are not signs of a lack of faith, but often the very crucible in which a deeper, more resilient faith is forged. And this leads to an honest tension, a profound paradox that many people of faith grapple with in times of crisis, because we're often told, explicitly or implicitly, that faith will make things better, that prayer will bring peace, that God will intervene and miraculously change our circumstances. We hear stories of miraculous healings, of sudden turnarounds. And while these stories offer hope, they can also inadvertently create a sense of failure or inadequacy when our own reality doesn't align. But the valley is real, and sometimes it's very, very long. It stretches out before us, seemingly endless, filled with pain and uncertainty. I don't have all the answers for why some prayers seem to go unanswered, or why pain doesn't just disappear because faith exists. I don't know why some people walk through these valleys and emerge with stories of miraculous healing, while others walk through them and don't, or walk through them and eventually succumb. This isn't doubt as a theological position. It's honesty as a pastoral act. Your struggle, your fear, your anger, your confusion, these are not signs of weak faith. They are signs of being human, of grappling with something profoundly difficult, something that challenges the very foundations of your understanding of life and God. It's a sign that you are alive and that you are feeling the weight of this life in all its brutal honesty. So, we don't resolve the tension. We can't promise that things will get better in the way you might hope, or that God will miraculously change the circumstances of the diagnosis. That would be dishonest, a false comfort that ultimately leaves you feeling more alone. Instead, we look for reorientation, not resolution. There may be a way to remain standing inside this, to find a way to be in the midst of the storm, even when the circumstances haven't changed. It's a quiet shift in angle, a subtle adjustment of perspective. It's about finding a way to carry the weight, not to have it magically lifted. Think of someone like Arthur, who received his diagnosis and for weeks felt utterly lost, adrift in a sea of fear and despair. He wasn't suddenly cured, but he started to find small, almost imperceptible ways to reorient himself. He began to focus on the next step, not the entire overwhelming journey. He allowed himself to feel the fear, to acknowledge the pain, but also to notice the small moments of grace that still broke through. A friend's unexpected visit, the warmth of the sun on his face during a brief walk, the simple act of breathing, the taste of his morning tea. He was still in the valley, the diagnosis still very real, but the way he was standing inside it, the way he was engaging with his reality, had begun to change. It was a shift from fighting against the current to learning how to float, how to navigate the waves. The central image of the psalm, "I am in distress," reappears here, but with a new, profound layer of meaning. It's not just about the initial shock of being caught. It's about the ongoing reality of living with that distress, the daily struggle against its constriction. And in this deeper understanding, we realize that God isn't just waiting at the other side of the distress after you've somehow managed to free yourself. He is present within the distress. He is there, not to magically remove the problem and make it disappear, but to be a steady presence, a quiet strength, a comforting anchor as you navigate the constriction. The light of the candle isn't just at the end of the tunnel, it's inside the tunnel with you, illuminating just enough of the path for the next step, offering a gentle warmth in the cold. It's a symbol of a God who enters into our suffering, who doesn't shy away from our pain, but sits with us in the messiness, in the fear, in the uncertainty. We've walked through the descent into the raw reality of pain, acknowledged the honest tension of faith in difficult times, and explored the idea of reorientation rather than resolution. We've sat with the understanding that God is present not just at the end of our suffering, but deeply within it, a quiet light in the distress. Now, as we move towards prayer, I want to invite you to participate in a way that feels authentic and right for you, without any pressure or expectation. This isn't about performing, or saying the right words, or even feeling a particular way. It's simply about opening yourself to a moment of connection, however fragile or fleeting that connection might feel. It's about creating a space for your heart to speak, even if it's just a whisper, even if it's just a sigh. If it feels comfortable, you might place a hand over your heart as a gesture of tenderness towards yourself and what you're carrying. This simple physical act can be a powerful way to acknowledge your own vulnerability, to offer yourself a moment of self-compassion in the midst of overwhelming difficulty. Or perhaps you might close your eyes to quiet the distractions around you and turn inward, allowing your inner landscape to come into focus. You could also simply rest your gaze on the candle, letting its steady flame be an anchor for your attention, a focal point for your thoughts, a silent companion in this moment. Take one slow, deep breath before we begin. Let it fill you completely, from the tips of your toes to the crown of your head, and then release it slowly, gently, as if releasing a small burden. This breath is a small act of presence, a grounding in the here and now. It may not be a coincidence that you ended up watching this video today. Perhaps, in the midst of everything, there was a quiet pull, a small whisper, an unseen hand that gently guided you here. And if that's the case, know that God can work with exactly what you've brought to this moment. The doubt that gnaws at your spirit, the exhaustion that weighs down your body, the half-belief that flickers uncertainly, the anger that burns within, the confusion that clouds your mind, the raw terror that grips your heart. You don't need to clean yourself up, or pretend to be stronger than you are, or put on a brave face. You don't need to have all the answers, or even any answers. Just bring your honest self exactly as you are right now, with all your brokenness, all your fears, all your hopes, however faint. This is a moment for quiet intimacy, for grounded hope. Not excitement, not urgency, not a sudden burst of miraculous feeling, but simply presence. A presence that acknowledges the brutal reality of your situation, and yet still believes in a deeper reality. A truth that holds even when everything else feels like it's falling apart. It's about finding a quiet strength that doesn't deny the pain, but sits with it, and through it, finds a way to connect with something larger than yourself. It's about allowing yourself to be held, even when you feel like you're unraveling. If you're ready, in the next part, we're going to pray together. This prayer isn't about changing God's mind, but about changing our own hearts, about opening ourselves to receive what is already being offered. It's a prayer that seeks not to escape the valley, but to find a way to walk through it with courage, with hope, and with the quiet assurance of a divine presence. Let us pray. O God, we come before you with the raw, unvarnished truth of what it feels like to receive a serious diagnosis. We name the terror that grips us, the cold dread that settles deep in our bones, the icy grip that tightens around our hearts. We name the way our minds race with worst-case scenarios, playing out endless, terrifying possibilities, the fear of pain, of suffering, of losing control, of the unknown path ahead that stretches out like a dark, winding road. We name the profound grief for the life we thought we had, for the future that now feels uncertain, perhaps even stolen, a future that once seemed so clear and bright, now shrouded in a terrifying fog. We name the profound loneliness that can accompany this news, even when surrounded by the most loving friends and community, because this particular weight feels like ours alone to carry, a burden that no one else can truly understand or lift. We name the exhaustion that comes from simply trying to process the enormity of it all, the feeling of being utterly overwhelmed, of being caught in a relentless current we can't fight, a current that threatens to pull us under. We name the anger, the confusion, the questions that have no answers, the sense of being blindsided and utterly vulnerable, exposed to a reality we never imagined. We name the moments of despair, when hope feels like a cruel illusion and the darkness seems absolute. And yet, in the midst of this raw naming, in the very heart of our fear and despair, we declare that you are here, not as a distant judge, observing our suffering from afar, not as a demanding taskmaster, expecting us to be strong when we feel utterly broken, but as a quiet, unwavering presence. You are here in the silence that sometimes feels deafening, in the fear that chills us to the bone, in the tears that fall unbidden, and in the ones that can't find their way out. You are here, even when we feel nothing, even when you seem absent, even when our prayers feel like they're hitting the ceiling, echoing back to us unheard. Your presence is not dependent on our feelings or our understanding, but on your unchanging nature, on your steadfast love that endures through all things. Like this candle, a steady light in the quiet, a persistent glow in the encroaching darkness, you are here. You are the one who protects the unwary, who saves us when we are brought low, not always by removing the trial, but by being present within it. So we ask, Lord, for specific things, for the grace to navigate the next moment, to get through the next morning, to face the next appointment, to take the next step, however small, however uncertain, however terrifying it may seem. We ask for moments of stillness in the middle of the night, when fear can feel most overwhelming, when the shadows lengthen and the worries multiply, to find a quiet breath, a flicker of peace, a gentle reminder of your presence. We ask for the capacity to trust, even when trust feels unreasonable, when the path ahead is shrouded in fog, when every instinct screams for control. We ask for the strength to take one more step, even without knowing where that path leads, simply because you are with us, guiding us, sustaining us. We ask for wisdom for the doctors, for clarity in decisions, for comfort in the midst of discomfort, for relief from pain, for moments of unexpected joy that break through the gloom. We ask for your compassion to be a tangible presence, a warm embrace, holding us when we feel like we're falling apart, when our resolve crumbles, when we can no longer stand on our own. We ask for the courage to face each day, each challenge, each moment, with a quiet dignity and a stubborn hope. And now, we surrender. We lay down the burden of trying to carry this alone, the crushing weight of isolation. We lay down the need to understand everything, to control everything, to fix everything, to have all the answers. We surrender the outcome, not because the weight is gone, not because the fear has vanished, but because carrying it alone is no longer required. We place this heavy reality, with all its fear and uncertainty, with all its pain and confusion, into your hands, knowing that you are the one who protects the unwary, who saves us when we are brought low, who holds us even when we feel ourselves dissolving. We trust that your love is deeper than our pain, wider than our fear, and more enduring than any darkness. God heard your prayer. He hears the unspoken cries of your heart, the fears you can't voice, the questions that linger in the quiet, the hopes you barely dare to whisper. This journey you're on is not one you have to walk alone. When the weight comes back, and it will. When the fear resurfaces, when the loneliness presses in, please return to this video. Let these words, this psalm, this quiet space be a refuge for you, a reminder of the presence that holds you. And as you walk through your own valley, remember that you carry a light within you, a reflection of the divine light that shines even in the deepest darkness. Perhaps, for someone you know, someone who is in their own valley right now, someone who feels utterly lost and alone, you can be the same kind of light this video was for you. Share this video with that one specific person whose name comes to mind. Someone who needs to know they are not alone. Someone who needs to hear that their pain is seen, and that there is a quiet, unwavering presence in the midst of it all. If you'd like to stay connected to this kind of content, to find more moments of comfort and reflection, to continue exploring how ancient wisdom can meet modern struggles, consider subscribing to the channel. And if you feel moved to, please leave a comment below, sharing what valley you're walking through, or which psalm speaks to your heart in these difficult times. Your honesty creates a space for others to be honest too, building a community of shared vulnerability and quiet strength.